Hey everybody, I hope you can hear me. I hope you're doing well. I know there's a few other channels that myself and others who watch this channel are probably hanging out at currently. I didn't mean to overlap. I just wanted to share some thoughts and go over the video that I saw earlier titled Solutions by Wayne and Julie from Sovereign Spirits. And I caught that premiere just about halfway through, toward the end. So I'm going to watch the beginning half uh, for the first time now. And when I got there and listened, um, I really liked the suggestions that I was hearing. And I think that they would be helpful for us to contemplate whether or not we know or have a feeling of what's going to happen. I think it's good to just put all the hypotheticals in front of us and consider the pros and cons and ins and outs and whys and all the different things. It's good to think about. So I'm going to just go ahead and start it and mute myself. And I'll pause it periodically when I have something to say. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you're rewatching the live, I hope you're doing well. Leave a comment, say hi. And yeah, after this video, which is 25 minutes, I will be going over some drawings that I have been working on. A couple of videos I made recently. Yesterday was kind of spinning out in Looney Town. I was going through some really intense stuff, and I just needed to transmute it and alchemize it. So I was letting my expressions fly in all different creative directions. So you may have caught some of the videos that I posted. If not, just as you revisit, consider that is where they are coming from. But I'm getting more refined and organized and articulating my thoughts and keeping it really simple and clear so it's not just a bunch of word salad to people. So, all right, I'm going to press play and mute myself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sovereign Spirits, where we discuss the possibility of this system as being a type of trap where we get caught in a reincarnation cycle, partly perpetuated by so-called guides and counselors. And we focus on ways to transcend this cycle by remembering our true essence and using our intention in a willful and empowered way to manifest an afterlife as sovereign spirits. I am Julie McVeigh, and I am here with co-creator and co-host of the show, Wayne Bush.
Hi, everyone. In today's episode, we will be sharing the article we wrote recently named Solutions, Escaping the Reincarnation Cycle, How to Exit Consciously at Death with Sovereignty, Live with Awareness, Die with Intention, Exit with Power. We will be referring to the article as we share this information with you.
There is a growing body of evidence suggesting we are non-physical beings temporarily confined within a deceptive reincarnation system. Our conclusion did not come lightly. If you have not done so already, please see our previous articles and videos relating to this. It's based on extensive research, firsthand experiences, and a wide range of compelling accounts from those who have peeked beyond the veil through near-death experiences, out-of-body journeys, pre-birth memories, between lives, hypnotherapy sessions, alien encounters, remote viewing, psychedelic explorations, and meditative insights.
Sorry for that disturbance. I wanted to say that I was in the chat earlier watching Wayne and Julie's video, when it was premiering, and I asked if I could restream it and go over it. So I did get their permission, if anyone's wondering. Okay, I'll press play again. Thanks.
Insights.
This soul recycling construct seems engineered to manipulate consciousness and suppress memory to keep souls unknowingly caught in a loop of reincarnation. This article is a guide for how to reclaim sovereignty, make conscious choices at the moment of death, and ultimately escape the reincarnation trap.
We may revise this article as we have additional experiences, gain more information, and develop further insight.
Right. So the first section is recognize the nature of the system. The first step toward escaping the reincarnation trap is to recognize the nature of this system designed to convince you to surrender your authority and power to an outside source. This awareness begins with an open mind and the courage to question deeply ingrained beliefs, which are mostly given to us by our parents, reinforced by religion, and cemented by culture long before critical thinking develops.
Confinement in this soul recycling system relies not only on the programming received during physical life, but extends beyond into the astral realms and so-called higher dimensions. Many religious people believe they will die and experience the afterlife in heaven for eternity. Others believe they will ascend into higher dimensions as they continue to learn and evolve. Still, others believe they will return to or merge with Source. However, the astral realms, which include heaven, the higher dimensions, and the so called Source, are still part of the deceptive matrix construct.
Many activities are staged to get our manipulated consent. Most people have heard of the magnetic tunnel and the alluring white light.
So I want to add my thought when they were saying that about whatever you believe, whichever realm you think you go to, heaven, or you re-homogenize is a term that I heard someone use recently, which is kind of interesting. Rejoin with source, dissolve yourself back into source. Some people believe they go to higher octaves of higher planes of existence. Some people, everybody has a different belief of like where the location is and what's going to happen at that location. But the point is that the first step was to realize, I forget exactly how they worded it, but I just want to add, like, just realize that we are hypnotized. And I feel that it's just so hard to fathom not knowing and thinking and observing in any other way than we already have our whole lives. And so I think to be ready to release any beliefs, um, is what I would say. It's along the same lines, but just to word it differently. Just know that you may have a belief and that might not be right, and just just be prepared for that, and just know that we're totally hypnotized right now and are not able to perceive the vastness of information until we leave the physical body. I mean, and that's a belief because it's speculative, but that is what I believe right now. And like taking my own advice, I'm ready to relinquish that if needed to.
Near-death experiencers have reported feeling powerful, overwhelming emotions, euphoria, and bliss. Perhaps frequency generators are used to create this love bombing effect. Other tactics used are guilt trips, shaming, and the appearance of shape-shifting entities, whether disguised as loved ones, Jesus, angels, religious figures, guides, gurus, masters, or councils.
This manipulated consent blinds you and binds you to yet another round in this cycle of limitation, oppression, and amnesia about your true nature. Whether you return to an earthly life full of extreme pain and suffering or to a supposedly lighter density, you still remain entangled in the reincarnation loop, supposedly for your own good. And at this point, I just want to recommend watching our top 10 red flags video, or either you could read the article at trickbythelight.com.
Right. The next step is to awaken to your true essence. You're not your physical body. You're a sovereign consciousness, often referred to as a spirit or soul. It's temporarily bound in a biological shell. This world is not your true origin, and it's certainly not your ultimate destination.
Yeah, keeping this awareness at the forefront of your mind is essential. It helps you to remember your true essence, resist manipulation, and avoid succumbing to disempowering beliefs, false identities, and emotional attachments that tether you to the system.
So practice sovereignty now. A sovereign spirit is free, self-governing, and takes full ownership of thoughts, energy, and actions without yielding to any outside authority. This requires building discernment and becoming unwavering in knowingness and choices, both in this realm and beyond.
And how you respond to authority, media, religion, and social pressure in this life indicates how you'll respond during the death transition and after death. If you allow yourself to be manipulated here, you allow yourself to be manipulated there. If you're passive here, you'll be passive there.
So start practicing sovereignty today. When something feels off, say no without doubting yourself. Trust your intuition, even if it challenges collective beliefs. Question all forms of authority, such as religious, scientific, governmental, and spiritual.
Never give unconscious consent, physically, emotionally, mentally, or energetically. Reject guilt, shame, and emotional manipulation. Stand firmly in your discernment and act from your own inner knowing. Manifest your intentions through focused thought and power of will.
Declare and embody your sovereignty daily, saying, I am a sovereign being. No body, being, or entity has authority over me.
Deprogram. From the moment we're born, we're immersed in systems designed to condition us to accept guilt, sin, karma, unworthiness, and the belief that external authority knows better than our own inner wisdom. These are control mechanisms. The beginning of dismantling these scripts or implanted beliefs is by first identifying them and then consciously letting go of them.
Yeah, letting go includes no longer seeking approval or guidance from outside sources, be they institutions, ideologies, religions, gods, gurus, or spirit guides. Use a healthy dose of skepticism regularly and question any belief that evokes fear, shame, or self-doubt.
For example, ask yourself, does this empower me or weaken me? Does this resonate with me or is it programming? Keep things that resonate as truth and discard everything else.
However, don't be closed-minded and assume you know the truth about everything. Be humble. Although it will take a lot of work and effort doing the research, it's worthwhile to refine your knowledge. Any viewpoint worth having should be able to withstand scrutiny.
Constantly reevaluate your views and be open to new theories. Research all possibilities.
So I wanted to stop there because I like this a lot. This is when I was doing the drawings of the 12-7-5 matrix that I shared yesterday in the silly video when I was getting out my energies. And I shared a little bit more of it in another video. But I think that this realm, this place, matrix, whatever, has constructs of 12 and then a depth of 7 and then an interface of 5. So, but basically focusing on the constructs of 12. So there's the 12 zodiacs, the 12 different psychological archetypes, 12 strands of the DNA, which determine, your genomic unfolding and your epigenetics and all that kind of stuff. 12, the timing, the months, every single 1 through 12 section of many different types of constructs like that have an influence and are inviting you to identify more or less with one of those sections. Like, oh, I'm a night person. Oh, I wake up at 5 in the morning. Or like, I'm born in February. I have, I have these signs are prominent in my astrology, but these particular, number 7 and 9 and whatever else, so Libra, Sagittarius, and those aren't me. I don't identify with those. Well, how about, like they're saying, disidentify with any of the programming or overlays of constructs or societal programming, or all the different ways that there's, even the 12 steps, um 12 grades, 12, like the stages, 12 of development, 12 different, I just lost what I was going to say, but there's an expectation of each of those rungs of that 12 runged ladder, and people are navigating and maneuvering from those expectations from those 12. But a practice is every day to notice when you're being pulled to do something or think about something, or say who you are. Someone asks you a question, when's your birthday? Or what, or you know just something about, your characteristics, and who are you identifying with? The person, this life that has had this life, all of the characteristics of that, of your person's life that you're inside of, like, animating right now. You're not actually that person. Like, I am spirit animating this life of Heather Mattoon. I don't identify with that's the storyline that makes up that life of Heather Mattoon. I identify with the spirit, the essence. And so, like Julie was saying, ask yourself, does this resonate with me? Or am I just going along with, like, the program autopilot, just saying, like, robotically, this, doing this, because one of the 12s, whatever. So learn how to even drop into that space where you can feel whether or not something resonates with you. And an experiment that I have done before, and I think that's pretty cool to do, is that if you, sorry, I got distracted. If you have a chance, I know a lot of people are busy and have to work and have jobs, and have families and things. I'm incredibly busy. I'm working. I'm doing, like, healing things for my body. I'm constantly organizing and trying to refine my environment so it's more conducive to what my essence, feels comfortable in. Being able to, not only is the physical body a housing for spirit, but your house is a housing for your spirit as well. So all these different environments that we're encased within, to be able to tune them to resonate with that essence of yourself primarily. And how do you find out what that is? What does that feel like? Well, any chance you get, turn off everything, all the devices, no music, no people around, and just try to spend as much time alone and in silence, or break it up into periods when you're able to do that, so that you can really familiarize yourself what you at your core essence feels like. And you can feel into that space, and you can also be able to start to feel into the subtle frequency layers or armatures of you as well. Like, right now, I'm thinking about doing this practice, and my hands immediately start getting fuzzy, like I can feel more energy. And so that's just what happens. You just do these practices where you put yourself in the situation to start to refine, tune your senses. And so then when you are interacting with other people, or you've got something happening that's on the radio or whatever, and you can start to feel, oh, that feels different than I feel, or that feels different than I feel. And then, like, oh, even if a thought comes in your mind, if you're sitting in a room with somebody and we're all sharing, you know, a mental morphic field of information that we're able to draw stuff from, and thoughts go there. Somebody could thinking something or has an energy or an emotion, and all of a sudden you start to feel that or think what they're thinking. And if you don't do this practice, you're not going to be able to tell that it's not even you, and you'll just easily be going along, um, being puppeteered by, you know just things that are happening without you asking whether or not they should be or not. So anyway, going back to um, their video.
Even conspiratorial ones, which conflict with what you've been told is the truth. Adjust your understanding accordingly as new information and experiences become available.
And once you've deprogrammed yourself, you'll be less likely to give your power away and can begin stepping into your sovereignty.
All right, detach from worldly attachments. To function in this realm, some degree of connection is unavoidable. At the very least, we must eat, bathe, sleep to maintain our biological shells. But many attachments can become like addictions, pulling us back into reincarnation again and again.
And these anchors can include sports, news, religion, sex, drugs, wealth, power, popularity, unrequited love, or unfinished business. For example, missions, goals, achievements, revenge, etc.
Mhm. Perhaps the strongest and most emotionally charged attachments are to life partners or children. Many come to the awareness of the soul trap theory after having already built lives that include these relationships. This realization can be conflicting, but we must remember we are not our bodies and neither are they their bodies. It's likely they've had multiple lives already.
Their true essence, like ours, is not the earthly identity they were born into, but something far beyond this deceptive matrix.
Mhm. Okay, release desires and emotional baggage. Let go of desires and unresolved emotional baggage that tether you to this realm. Do not carry a bucket list of experiences you feel you must accomplish before death. If you do feel the urge to get something out of your system, just reframe it as a gentle preference, not a necessity, such as, I'd enjoy this, but I don't need it.
Avoid clinging to desires for reunion, validation, revenge, or closure. These
Mm.
attachments form energetic ties that can be manipulated or used to lure you back into cycles of suffering.
Mhm. Begin conducting your own mini life reviews while alive, not in some manipulated afterlife scenario. Reflect on emotional triggers such as anger, grief, guilt, shame, regret, lust, grudges, greed, and envy. Identify what provokes these reactions and actively work to understand and deprogram and neutralize them. The goal is to remain undisturbed and inwardly centered during your mini life review.
Face your fears. Death can trigger instinctive fear, but your true essence must remain calm. Train now to override fear based programming by observing fear without letting it overtake you. Panic and confusion are remnants of the body and mind, not your eternal consciousness. Practice stillness and desensitize yourself to triggers such as darkness, isolation, and the unknown so you stay centered when the body falls away.
Mhm. If you awaken in a silent, dark void, nothing is wrong unless you believe it is. Likewise, if tunnels, portals, or landscapes appear, don't blindly trust them. Instead, ask yourself, did I initiate this or is something pulling me? Discern self directed experiences from those driven by external forces.
Not everything you encounter has your best intent. Some forces lure, frighten, or deceive, relying on your belief in their authority. Stand firm in inner knowing. No being, whether light or dark, whether familiar or unfamiliar, has power unless you consent.
Right. You are not helpless. Fear only has power when you forget who you are. Reclaim your authority. Any entity, demon, or God figure loses its hold. Stay grounded in sovereignty, and fear dissolves.
Exercise curiosity with caution. In non-physical realms, thought is a creative force. Unlike the physical world, where manifestation is slow, a single thought or desire or question, especially with subconscious intent, can instantly create or summon something.
Curiosity must be used with caution. Without discernment, it can draw you into scenarios influenced by your longings or emotions.
I'm just going to stop there. I'm sorry to interrupt the speaker. So I just wanted to say about the practicing releasing attachments to emotions and those spikes of emotions. I just made a video recently about emotional discharge and incoherent or coherent fields of our physiological body. Well, we're here that stores information and sort of like syncs up with our nervous system. And um, so different ways that we can practice every day to let go of, and the reason why I want to say this too, excuse me, the reason why I feel it's important to think about these things, even if you don't believe that any of this stuff that anybody's saying is going to happen after your physical body dies. This is good practice in general, just to not be led by emotions, even here in the physical life. To not let so it's like a practice. So I spend a lot of time by myself and in silence and doing what I got to do, watering the plants, doing physical therapy. But I move really, really, really slowly. And I'm very aware about what I'm thinking and feeling, because I have to be really tuned in to my physical body because half of it is paralyzed. And I have to make sure that I'm not causing more stress on my physical body, more physical pain, etc. So I am so slow and so intentional and so tuned into my thoughts and any sort of like spikes of emotions or changes that come up in my field. So we use it as an opportunity to practice, something, there's a day where it seems like everything is just going wrong. Something, I'm trying to reach for something and it falls and then it goes even further away, or I'm trying to be quiet and then it's really loud, or somebody says some stupid remark, or somebody says a really amazing remark. And then I start feeling elated and really excited. It's like there's this central middle ground that I'm not allowing. I'm not allowing anything, unless I wanted to, take me out of this state of centeredness and observation. And yeah, so I'm forgetting what else I wanted to say. So I'll just continue on their video, and it's halfway through at this point. And then after this, like I said, I'm going to go over a couple drawings that I did, or watch a video that I just made. It's going to be 14 minutes long, I think, after that. And then, of course, if anybody's here, I will chat. Say hi in the chat. All right.
Which can lead to entanglement.
Become the observer of your mind. Examine every thought or attraction. Where does it come from? Where might it lead? Use neutral observation and clear analysis to navigate.
The more conscious you are and the more intention you use, the less likely you are to fall into traps disguised as wonders.
Intention, intuition, and willpower. Developing and strengthening your intuition, intention, and willpower are essential.
Listening to intention, intuition, listening to intuition. Begin by testing your intuition in small, low-risk situations. Follow subtle gut feelings and learn to distinguish between true inner guidance and reactions based on fear, conditioning, or overthinking. Keep a journal of these experiences to track accuracy and reinforce trust in your inner knowing.
Using intention. Use your intention daily and practice manifesting in your life. Practice the art of creative visualization. Affirm your sovereignty each day. I am free and sovereign.
All right, exercising free will. We do feel we must operate under the assumption we have free will. Remember that no being, system, or force has the right to override your free will. If you sense pressure, deception, or influence, calmly and firmly state, "No, I do not consent."
Harnessing willpower. Strengthen your willpower, whether it's completing a daily practice, resisting a negative habit, or holding firm against manipulation. The more you exercise willpower, the harder it is for external forces to sway you.
Mental strengthening. Before you sleep, repeat your affirmation and visualize a protective shield around you, one that blocks you from manipulation, distortion, and infiltration while keeping your awareness sharp.
Maintain creative outlets. Various creative
Oops. So it was at this point that I joined their. It's interesting because what I was just saying, Wayne said right after, so I didn't hear that part. But this is right where I joined in the stream earlier, and so when they're talking about this, repeating the affirmations of their text that you can find on Tricked by the Light, Wayne's website, or on their, I believe they have a link somewhere from their Sovereign Spirits YouTube channel. So what I did recently, and I put this in the chat, and Wayne said, yeah, that's a great idea, to record your voice. And so I just recently did this. I started recording my voice affirmations, like that I fine-tuned and tailored to what I want to just hear myself say. And I recorded it on a voice note on my iPad. And then I can't remember, with GarageBand or something, iMovie, played it along with some really gentle musical, instrumental, ambient type of track, ambient track. And I want to play some music. I don't have it ready, but soon when I do a live, I'm going to play a friend's music as well. There's so many people that I have met in these YouTube community streets that have great musical talent that I really want to share everybody's stuff and support them. And so what I do is in the morning, hey, pushing buttons, great to see you. In the morning and before I go to sleep, when I wake up, I turn on the track, because I kind of doze in and out of sleep for a little bit before I actually am very alert. And then also as I'm falling asleep, which takes quite a while because I'm pretty uncomfortable most of the time. Yay, big hugs. Listen to it while I'm falling asleep. And I think the thing is with this recording your own voice to do subliminal affirmations is just that, the subliminal. It's like just below the liminal state that you're in, able to pick up on. It's just lower the volume of your voice so you can barely hear it. And so you're letting yourself relax to the music without thinking about the words and analyzing and having thoughts about each word or sentence. And so that is the trick, so that it's only picked up by your subconscious mind and not your rational mind, which is going to keep you away from that programming. It's the reason why subliminal messages and neuro-linguistic programming and all of these tactics that people have used in history to seed our fertile subconscious that's just always listening and watching and taking suggestions and data. And so we also have repeating patterns in our psyche that agrees or disagrees with these data points. And so that even adds more weight that you have to figure out, like, what is your processor oriented toward? Good things happening for you, or really scary stuff happening? So the affirmations, I believe it's important to put them in the affirmative and not say, like, I will not be afraid of anything. The subconscious just hears like afraid, because that's the power word. So you should, I mean, I would say, or I say, I feel confident in all situations, that I will know how to move. I'm not going through the exact list of what I said, but I think you get the idea. So anyways, I would read there. I haven't done this yet, but I'll add it to my file and listen, see how it feels. Because I can feel the results after doing these, listening to these subliminal messages in the morning and the night. That's really cool. Pish and Button says, I used to love those kinds of tricks, but using those tactics on others, oh, for sure. I would never, I sometimes, years ago, I would catch myself being like, are you trying to manipulate this person to answer a question a certain way? Or if you need something done, am I trying to phrase what I'm saying in a certain way so that their answer will be more probable to be yes or no or whatever? And I just was like, I got to, I'm not doing that anymore. I am not doing that anymore. And so I fumble a lot. I say things really awkwardly, and it's just like, I don't even care, because as long as I'm not performative and trying to manipulate somebody, it doesn't matter. It's fine. However it's coming out, it's fine, because I know what my intentions are, and I'm not trying to change somebody's or sway or manipulate anybody to make any other choice than they're going to do with presented just the raw, cold information. So I'm glad you said that, because I find that important. Yeah, I relate 100%. Cool. So yeah, I'm going to experiment and see how they're, like I was saying, it takes about 3 days for me to notice, listening, I guess 6 times, 3 in the morning, 3 in the night, in those liminal spaces, hypnopompic spaces before sleeping and before waking up, the in between. Yeah. And then usually in 3 days, I start feeling like, I feel different. Like, ooh, I feel more confident, or I feel so. I don't know if it's a time frame that's for everything, but that's what I've noticed. So yeah, I'll write a post or something after I do this with theirs, and I'll let you guys know if I felt any difference effect. Hey, Black Unigryphon, nice to see you here. I want to check out your channels. I really appreciate that. I have to reread the comment again, but I always appreciate when you comment, because I want to follow you and hear more of your thoughts. So yeah, I'm going to continue playing this. Oh, yeah. Okay. We are watching Wayne and Julie's Solutions premiere that was from earlier today. And I always say, to, like, whether or not you believe any of this is even true, or that there's entities or anything that's going to happen on the other side, this is all important consideration to do while we're even still alive. So I just say, be prepared for anything, and just, get prepared while you're here.
Activities like writing, painting, dancing, singing, gardening, creating of any kind can help transmute negative energy into a more positive flow and balance into your everyday life. Do things that make you happy and enjoy them as often as you can. This will help you prevent burnout and depression and maintain balance in order to navigate this emotional roller coaster.
Okay, daily spiritual practices. meditation, and non-physical states. Practice entering and sustaining non-physical or expansive states of awareness. This can include lucid dreaming, out-of-body experiences, astral projection, states of non-duality, deep meditation, or resting in pure observer consciousness. These states train your mind to remain calm, detached, and centered during potentially disorienting transitions, especially the death process. The more familiar you are with these expansive states while alive, the more likely you can recognize and navigate them after physical death.
Mindfulness. It's important to always be aware as much as possible that you're not your body. You are the consciousness experiencing the body. Remind yourself often, this realm is temporary. I am more than this form.
Set alarms as reminders that you are more than your physical body and living in an illusionary reality, and have discussions with like-minded people who explore consciousness.
Balance and moderation. Maximize the positive and minimize the negative. Try not to dwell on negative things for too long. Focus as much as possible on what's positive. You want to be distracted enough to keep from wallowing in depression, but not so distracted that you lose sight of doing what's necessary to reclaim your sovereignty and escape the reincarnation cycle.
Lucid dreaming and out-of-body practice. Lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences are potentially valuable rehearsals for the afterlife. These states help you become aware and comfortable with your non-physical abilities in non-physical states of reality. They allow you to practice the power of intention, manifestation, shape-shifting, teleportation, telepathy, different forms of physics like gravity and going through walls and flying, and knowing how to deal with interference from negative entities by using protection and shields and invisibility. And we do recommend that you maybe watch How to Leave Your Body. We have a link in our article, and we'll put a link up here in the description.
Be aware of afterlife traps and manipulation tactics.
Sorry to cut you off, Wayne, as if we're all here together. But what Julie just said, I wanted to highlight. Practice throwing up a protective shield around you. I was talking to a friend earlier today who has to go to work with his brothers, and they are kind of bullies to him, and he just dreads having to go to work. And I told him, when you pull up there to the building in your car, like take 5 minutes or a minute, however long you can, before you open the door to get out of the car, and just take a few deep breaths and just center yourself, drop any thinking, and put a shield around yourself. Imagine what that is. It could be a golden orb, some sort of like a translucent egg. What I've been doing, I think it's really cool, and I'll share this, that when I am resting and laying down so I'm not hurting my back, I imagine I'm really loving this green and gold, like grass, emerald green, and really bright, bright gold mixed together. I don't know what that is, but that I imagine is like there's like those cake topper glass things that you put over the display cake and you can see through it. It's glass, like something like that I put over my body when I'm laying down in bed. And of course it goes all the way around, but I picture it like that. And that has really helped me. And so, yeah, I was just telling him, like, whatever you feel like a good shield is for yourself, take a couple breaths before you even go into the building, and keep yourself protected and aware and observant. And like, we can slow down time and space and catch things really much quicker than they're coming at us normally if we focus on that. I do believe I mean, and it sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like it's possible. I do it. Even if I'm pretending that I'm doing it, it's fine. Yeah, even if you're pretending that you're doing something, it's fine. You're practicing it. So I agree. I really agree with what she said. And I wanted to add on to that. So I will continue the video.
If all goes according to plan, you will not encounter any of these traps. But if you find yourself in their domain, remember these traps. Be vigilant. These entities are skilled at using deceptions such as emotional hooks and psychological pressure to influence your decisions after death. Awareness and preparation is your best defense.
So there's the tunnel of light trap, often presented as the gateway to the afterlife. This tunnel is likely a lure leading into controlled domains where free will is diminished. Do not give your attention to the tunnel or pinpoint of light. Teleport away immediately.
Entity traps. Non-physical beings may shapeshift and impersonate as loved ones, spirit guides, or revered religious figures to gain your trust. These impersonations can be convincing, complete with voices, mannerisms, emotional warmth, or a feeling of home. We do not recommend engaging with any being. If for some reason you choose to connect with a loved one, use inner intention to initiate the contact and do not assume any appearance of a loved one is actually your loved one. Use intention to persuade them to reveal their true form.
Of course, there's the reunion trap. Emotional bonds are powerful ways to manipulate. You might be presented with a false reunion with family, friends, or even pets who seem joyful and welcoming. These could be your loved ones who are deceived themselves, or a disguised entity, or an AI projection from the Akashic records. While comforting, such scenes can be staged to draw you into controlled environments.
The love bomb. Not all love is unconditional. Some love is bait. Overwhelming waves of bliss, euphoria, or ecstasy can be used to lower your guard. In such heightened emotional states, you're more susceptible to accept agreements or follow without questioning.
Then there's the life review trap. We recommend refusing any life review. This leads to attachment, guilt, shame, and a sense of obligation. This review is used to steer you toward consenting to another reincarnation cycle.
The karma trap. You may be told or even shown that you have unresolved karma that must be repaid.
So I wanted to stop there to say about what Wayne said about, or well, what Julie just said about bliss or the frequency, or one of them. I'm sorry, I can't remember. I was trying to figure out what I was going to say. That I think about this sometimes. Like I was thinking about this a couple years ago. There was a discussion, I forget, like maybe on one of Mark's streams or something, or maybe one of Ian's streams on We Are Awake. I can't remember. I was thinking about like this bliss, people feel, oh my God, it was so amazing. I was just overcome with this love, this unconditional love. It was the most beautiful feeling and nothing I've ever experienced here. Well, I think like throughout my personal life, 4 decades here, lots of different experiences and feelings and heightened, sensations. And I had a spontaneous samadhi type awakening thing that lasted for more than a month. It was like I was blissed out of my rocker and just floating around and like I was a crazy person. And I used to experiment with, different substances when I was in my early 20s. And I felt really euphoric periods of sensations in my life for many different reasons. So I think there's like also some kind of a practice to not become like addicted to euphoria. I mean, yeah, it feel, can you, so I guess now I would think about, can I just feel amazing with this base frequency of just centered, grounded, chill, observant, no heightened spikes of anything? Can this just be And then when I get out of this state, it's like fodder for manipulation. It just takes you out of being centered, good or bad. It's a distortion, even if it feels amazing. Like, why do we gotta, probably because there's so much like pain here. So anything on the opposite is very welcome. But I think that can be cultivated from within, is what I'm saying. To not be addicted to try, like when anything else makes you feel like that, to not give it any power, that you can do that for yourself and find richness in the balance. All right.
Paid through another reincarnation. This is a control mechanism to keep you cycling through repeated lifetimes. Remember, you are sovereign and not subject to such contracts or agreements.
Mentally practice your death. Visualize the moment of death and what might follow. Visualize various death scenarios. Imagine different ways the transition might happen. Will it happen suddenly, such as an accident or unexpected health event? Or will it be slowly, allowing for conscious preparation? Picture yourself experiencing each type of departure with steadiness and clarity.
Consider the immediate aftermath. See yourself rising above your body, looking down at the scene without attachment, or imagine finding yourself in a vast silent void or perhaps in an unfamiliar realm. In each case, mentally practice maintaining your sovereignty and discernment.
Include potential challenges. Visualize common afterlife traps or manipulations, entities appearing as loved ones, dazzling tunnels of light, or overwhelming waves of bliss. And practice how you would respond with sovereignty.
Process emotions. Include the feelings that might arise: relief, confusion, sadness, longing, or joy. Practice until there is no reaction at all. The goal is to eliminate emotional reactions. Be an impartial observer.
Practice choosing your destination. We don't recommend choosing your destination until your memory of who and what you are returns. In your rehearsal, clearly state your intention to navigate beyond controlled or deceptive realms toward a place of your choosing, whether your own self created reality or another destination aligned with your sovereignty.
Consider a darkness retreat. Since we don't want to go to the light, you might find yourself initially in darkness or a void. It could be helpful to practice being comfortable in the dark. It can help break you from reliance on such stimulations as light, sound, and movement. A darkness retreat can be done at your own home or a location that specializes in such retreats. It is simply sensory deprivation. You isolate yourself from light and sound, and after a short period, DMT will be released and you will begin to see light, which helps you realize you're your own source of light and don't need artificial sources of light.
Moment of death, plan of action. You must prepare.
So when I was watching this video earlier today and in the chat, and I typed that out, I retyped that out, you are your own source of light. I thought that was so amazing that you said that. And I really agree with this, like practicing the sensory deprivation, because our senses is another thing that binds us here and that makes us feel that, oh, only what I can experience with my senses is what's real. Well, so practice taking away, like, so when I go to sleep, I have really great earplugs that I put in my ears. I have an eye mask that covers, it's soft, it's nice, it's covers my whole around my eyes, sides and everything. And I also have like a sleeping cap because I don't want my hairs to tickle my neck or anything when I'm sleeping. And then I just go into this state, imagining that I'm in a sensory deprivation place, after listening to whatever. I turn off the device, even in that half sleepy state, turn off my iPad, and then I really just go out into this experience. And, probably the light that we produce in that state a little. It allows us to be able to experience dreams. But on another note, that being the source of the own light, I've experienced it and I've heard other people talk about when they do darkness retreats after 3 days of total pitch black darkness, your brain will start producing light, and you can see, and you can see image, you can see like scenes like in front of you, and it's dark. And I know experiences that I've had in different meditations or sensory deprivation practices that after a period of time, my eyes will be totally closed, darkness. There will be a flash of light in my mind, in my head. And it's like so bright. I feel like, whoa, are my eyes, and they're not open. It's like the sun. It's like, whoa, it's so bright. And so then it flickers, it flickers. And then I haven't sustained that long enough because I didn't do a 3-day darkness retreat. But it's true. After a long enough period in complete darkness with sensory deprivation, you will be your own source. You are your own source of light. I thought that was cool. So stop there and say that, and then I'll press play again.
Now for what you'll do at the moment of death. Know your exit strategy. Know how you'll act when the moment arrives. Ideally, we want to have a conscious exit. We want to be calm and in control without emotional attachments like fear, anger, doubt, resentment, etc. Have your afterlife affirmation memorized to the point it becomes an automatic internal intention without the need for words. For example, it's like it's your pure intention. We also update our affirmation as needed. Feel free to tailor it to your own liking. And we're going to link our most current afterlife affirmation down below in the description.
Okay, so we have some recommended do's and don'ts. First, the don'ts. Don't go to the light or tunnel.
Don't be seduced by any feeling of love, for example, the love bomb.
Don't trust any being, no matter how loving or familiar.
Don't engage with any unwanted encounter. Teleport out.
Don't consent to anything, especially mind.
Okay, so I imagine that I have all sorts of people listening into the videos, and not everybody has these same beliefs that there's any trickery or deception after death, that you just go through the process and trust it because that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, why should we be so audacious to feel like we can have control over any part of that process, that we are just, on a conveyor belt to be able to, to live and die? It's a great, honor. So just whatever's going to happen is fine. So sure, if that's what you believe and feel, that's you. That's your personal preference. I just want to reiterate, like, I am not endorsing don't go to the light, don't do this, don't do that, for anybody that doesn't want to hear that. I personally feel that I think it's great advice. I'm not saying that it's not, that they shouldn't be saying that. I just wanted to say everybody has a different prerogative to have their own journey, however it's going to be. And so I don't even have a concrete rigid belief of what I think is going to happen. But the videos that I make, the way I talk about it is the light of the spirit that I am, that's animating this vessel of Heather Mattoon, is going to drop the physical body. Therefore, my awareness won't be under hypnosis. My awareness will be of who I truly am. And from that point, I, you know, I I don't know if I withdraw to my greater self of light that's not in form. But I personally don't believe it. I'm not even allowing anybody to or anything to interact with me. Kind of like I think Mark says that. He's just like, it's just not, nobody has permission to interact with me. Nothing. Kind of like that. But I also, I don't know, like, we don't know. Like, even the near death experiencers that I give all of these cases that we base these suggestions on, in my opinion, aren't really dead. They're still connected. They're having an out of body experience at one level of a realm or another, depending on which floor the elevator lets them off on, I guess. Like, are you just in a coma? You're in the lower astral. That was my experience. Are you having a near death experience that's really serious? And so, like, really make sure that, this is happening. And who knows, maybe when you really die, if I feel like if I put my awareness outside of the entire high rise construct of all the different floors available to go to, I'm not even gonna be in this one. So I don't feel like I'm gonna even be on the elevator. I don't know how to explain it yet because I'm still thinking about these things, but I just feel confident that there's not going to be any trouble or challenge. And perhaps it's the confidence building exercises that I've been doing for myself because I am actually preparing for this, like, seriously. And like, I think about it every day, not in a morbid sense, but because I'm watching what's happening to the physical body and I understand, So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there and continue the video.
Lives, amnesia, life reviews, judgment, karma, or reincarnation, even if it's on a lighter density planet.
Don't get baited into conversations, debates, arguments, agreements, or contracts.
Don't cling to loved ones or unfinished business.
Don't let curiosity or emotion lead you.
Okay, now for the do's. Declare I am sovereign, free, and in control.
Declare I am permanently protected, invisible, indetectable, and free from interference.
Release through intention any parasites, attachments, and addictions.
Remove through intention implants, false imprints, tracking devices, and programming.
Repeal any contracts, agreements, and permissions with all deceptive entities or systems.
Reclaim your energy.
Declare freedom from fear, envy, lust, hate, anger, greed, jealousy, regret, guilt, grudges, and unfulfilled desires. For example, unrequited love or unfinished business.
Move inward to the innermost core of your true essence and permanently dissolve all illusions.
Teleport or transcend your exit. Transcend duality beyond all deceptive matrices forever.
Declare you are safe in a state of absolute, clear, pure awareness, fully awake and fully conscious.
Declare you are free forever, full of joy, peace, and serenity.
Declare your focused intention and fierce willpower.
Declare you are independent and in control.
Recollect your memories of who, what, and why you are before you took any form. Always remember the true essence of who you are.
Assess all experience options available. Manifest anything at will, should you ever choose to do so. So I guess that's our solutions article on escaping the reincarnation cycle and how to exit consciously at death with sovereignty, live with awareness, die with intention, exit with power. Thanks for listening.
If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you like the content we're sharing here on the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon to be alerted to future videos, share the video with others so we can help get this free content out there to more people. And remember to always
Stay sovereign.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Exit with power. Thanks for listening.
If you intention and fierce willpower,
Declare you are independent and in control.
declare you are safe in a state of absolute, clear, pure awareness, fully awake and fully conscious.
Declare you are free forever, full of joy, peace, and serenity.
Declare your focused intention and fierce willpower.
Declare you are independent and in control.
Recollect your memories of who, what, and why you are before you took any form. Always remember the true essence of who you are.
Assess all experience options available. Manifest anything at will, should you ever choose to do so. So I guess that's our solutions article on escaping the reincarnation cycle and how to exit consciously at death with sovereignty, live with awareness, die with intention, exit with power. Thanks for listening.
If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you like the content,
I really liked what he said there. Some die with integrity. With I can't remember all the words, but that was perfect. So, thanks everybody for. I was really excited to listen to this first half for the first time on the stream, and then the link is in the description, I believe. Yeah, to their channel. And six watching now, 66 minutes ago. Whoa, that's cool. I'm not scared of numbers. So the next video that I wanted to share was I redrew. I was making videos yesterday and throwing them up there without really finally editing them because I was just trying to transmute and alchemize some really intense things that were happening. And done for. Thank you so much for being here. Good night. I really appreciate you. I hope you sleep well, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, very soon. Okay, Black Uni. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna play this video that I'm leading up to talking about, and then I'll get the link and then put it in the chat, send it, and then yes, sounds cool. Very cool. So yeah, I just wanted to today like redraw it more clearly, and I know people who've seen my stuff might be, you know, okay, I know what you're going to say here. I know what you're going to say here. Well, I've been in this refinement process. So I'm trying to get it tighter and like more articulated well and more clearly, and less confusing. And so that is my intention. So I am going to stop sharing this screen and then share this other screen that has this that I made earlier. And so I'm going to play it all the way through. It's 14 minutes later. I'm not long. I'm not going to stop it. And then so we can get through it. And then afterwards, I'll put the link in the chat for StreamYard. So Black Uni and I can chat and we'll keep the live going. And that'll be great. So let's see. Do, 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 do. So there are two principles forming existence, and one is feminine and one is masculine. And the feminine means magnetic and receptive and facilitative, and masculine is the active force, the vibration within the medium of the feminine potential. And so the etheric medium, this magnetic, the void, the darkness, is buzzing with sentient, everything is sentient. There's nothing in the universe that is not sentient. Breaking it down to this small scale of feminine and masculine charge and potential, this medium that is formless and, as they say about plasma, dusty plasma, complex dusty plasma, finer than mist. And it's all interwoven, this tapestry of feminine magnetic etheric medium pulsing with the infinite potential of the masculine electric charge in the form of self organizing plasma, which begins to have characteristics, if you want to look at it as the larger mind, than the archetypes or the aeons or the qualities or characteristics of specific frequencies, oscillations begin to refine themselves to have individual qualities. And with increased concentration in those qualities, or in that particular dynamic of the combination of the electricity and the magnetism, the electromagnetic dance, as that begins, and the vibration, which Tesla says is the perturbation within the ether, is a vibration within this space. And that produces light, which is actually sound. So the vibration, the humming, the logos, the sound vibrates in the ether, and that causes light. So the sound, the frequency, the vibration, the oscillations turns into waveforms and become light, and become, with sustained charge and increased oscillation and focus, this spin, this dance of electricity and magnetism, the plasma sustained long enough turns itself into a closed loop system, which is in the shape of the torus field. These invisible flows of the energy of this electromagnetic dance that self-organizes itself and begins to pull in more charge and grow its strength. And the way this works, the electromagnetism with the torus, and you can learn from Ken Wheeler, Nicole Murphy, lots of people. The stronger this system, the more charge it pulls in, the stronger the dielectric core. This is the center point. You could think of it as the black hole, one side the black hole, one side the white hole, like Itzhak Bentov's work. The singularity, the 0 point, this is where the light slows down, and this is the strongest point of inertia, which is energy at rest. And so all of this energy in this point of 0 point of singularity of rest is creating matter in this plane here between the two poles of the toroid field's electromagnetism's flow. And the plane of inertia is where creation unfolds from. So whatever initial intention or focus or aeon or archetype or quality that turned itself into this system here, everything that is within this system from then on emulates the original creator of this. And it has a ratio on top of 1, space ratio on the bottom 1.6, which is phi, which is the golden spiral. The Fibonacci sequence is the ratio of how this vortex unfolds, that spiral. That's what everything is emulating here in nature. Like sunflowers, shells, the spinning of the vortex of the water, tornadoes, our fingerprints, our hair, the way the trees unfold, everything. And because of this electromagnetism, this force of charge that keeps everything within its own system, there's systems within systems within systems. So from macro to micro has the same electromagnetic torus field with the same 0 point singularity of infinite potential. So, for example, this apple, it has the core and the seed. So, as the seed is developing inside here, it's unfolding, it's unraveling. The spirit that's everywhere imbues itself into this material, into the seed, and reads the information that's programmed in the seed or DNA to facilitate it becoming what it's programmed to be. So that's it, just keeps going over and over and over and over and over, looping in on itself and out and out and out and in and out and in until it stops, and then we have an apple. And then we can take that seed and do it again. And that's what happens with the people. Pulling in light from the electromagnetic charge vortex that we have when certain frequencies are in a certain manner, to sort of like a beacon, invite more spiritual potential into the form to then create from its plane of inertia, its 0 point, and get bigger and bigger like a pregnant belly. And then, boom, there's a baby. And then that seed goes to maturation until it's ready to do the same thing. And so the way I think about it now is that the spirit that we are connected to, there's individuated spirit that self-organizes and has its own identity. And then there's just all spirit potential everywhere. And everything can access information from anywhere because this is like a tapestry woven, and everything is not entangled but connected. But it doesn't mean that there is no individual beings. It just means that you're able to access the field, the morphic field of reality. And then each smaller system within that has its own morphic field of information to draw from. So when you're housing spirit and are providing a strong enough field that's coherent, that's not leaking charge, that's not distorted, that's not like repelling, that's going into chaos and entropy, that's going to just dissipate back into this field to continue the energy for creation, which it's going to do anyway, whether it's incoherent or coherent. But if it's coherent, it makes this center stronger, which is the portal to your spirit self. And that is where more or less spirit comes in and out throughout the life. So with coherency and focus and intention and doing work to refine, to keep your because the emotions and the charge that we have from our thoughts, from our heart, from our nervous system, that will create a certain type of a field. And I feel like it's important for myself to make a coherent and refined enough field with the combination of all of those things, nervous system, emotions, and thoughts, and then subconscious, to ensure that more spirit of mine and spirit, perhaps we have our larger spirit self out here and it tethers and lends a golden thread or a silver cord to us while we're here. That is like an Ethernet cable for our light to travel through, to give us information or exchange information. And then during the life, whether or not that incoherency or coherence is practiced, there could be a greater or lesser connection to that spirit. And so my goal is for myself to continue bringing in and creating a strong enough metaphysical architecture that's conducive for bringing in more and more, as much of my spirit as I can while here, so that when the body drops and the body's field and charge and memory dissipates into the rest of the system for it to get recycled, my spirit connection is so strong that that's where my awareness is. That's where my focus is. And I am not any longer attached to emotions or cravings from the physical body or issues from the subconscious or the nervous system. I am focused on spirit alone. And so I am going to the next destination. I don't want to sit with the car at the lot after I drop it off because it doesn't work anymore. I'm going to move out of the lot, metaphysically or literally speaking. You know, we don't really know, because if we just drop this sensory interface, you know, perhaps there's no actual movement. Perhaps we are always here, but the tether amount of spirit that's within here is where all the awareness is. And so that's why it feels so real. Because once the spirit comes down through these 7 layers of density into this matrix of 12 sectioned constructs using our 5-digit interface, it doesn't allow for the memory, and the speed and the vibration of this light slows down when it comes into form. And it's like we are hypnotized by the frequency of the earth and the luminaries and of the material is all hypnotic, and ensuring that our brain's operating system is at a state that doesn't allow for us to be able to access information outside of this dense realm. However, we can have moments of glitches in our operating system of our brain, like an epileptic seizure or meditation or breath work or psychedelics, et cetera, that will give us glimpses into our brain not working like it's supposed to, which then will allow us to perceive more of the reality. Right now, we're only perceiving less than 1%. Hey everybody, how are you doing today? I did it. Wait, oh, that was the beginning of that last video. All right, last stream I did was such a mess. So it feels good to have done a little bit better on this one, at least with the technical stuff. Great. Oh, now I can hear myself in my hand. Black Uni's here, and I'm gonna invite, hold on, just a second. There we go. All right. Hey, Black Uni. Let's see, how can I bring you to the stage? There you are. Hey.
Hi, everyone in the chat. I recognize a lot of people in there.
How do I do that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I got to figure this out. Shoot. Because I was listening. Okay, there'll just be a delay. All right. So whatever.
Sure. I have my audio, like you're on my computer, I have you off, like muted, but I can see the live feed there. It's like slower than this. So Anyway, hey, people in the chat. Nice to see you all here. You guys are like the people that I honestly care like a lot more about. I like a lot of people in Rob's sphere of influence too, and he's got a huge mix of stuff. But a lot of times I find like people on your channel and Mark's and Dan's. It's not like huge numbers of people necessarily, but I'm more interested in like quality of stuff and like actual like original thinking, or like people actually trying to do something with themselves and this whatever we're going through, and not just go along with the crowd. I feel like a lot of people just kind of um, copy Mark, but they don't know what they're doing. And Mark is more of a free thinker. Mark has also challenged me to kind of like question things I took for granted to be true, um, which is one of the things I really respect about him. He has a very high tolerance for a lot of crap, and I've seen him lose it a few years ago. And I've also had to just calm down because I was just so active. Like, I guess maybe it's like in your right brain, left brain kind of thing. And I can see people who are kind of newer, who are like where I was, like back in 2022 or 2023. And I'm in like a very different area. And Mark was like telling me, why don't you do like work on trying to be lucid? I didn't really know what to do with that. I was like, what the heck does that mean? And he's like, well, here's this book, and here's this thing, and here's this thing. I'm like, what do I do with this? And so now this year, I've kind of eased myself into meditation stuff again, from various different points of view and different like perspectives. And I'm just not religious at all. I'm still kind of secular in a lot of ways. I'm not a theist, but I've experienced all kinds of stuff. I'm always experiencing just weird stuff. And when my friend died, it got really weird very fast. And I'm honestly really grateful to him because we apparently had an agreement that if one of us died before the other, we'd prove, the existence of ourself, right? And he is really unusual. He can do things that I don't really know of other people being able to do. Which kind of makes me wonder, like, what kind of being is he really, and why would he choose such a harsh life, or how much do we get to choose, or are we tricked? I feel like there's different things going on simultaneously, and I feel like a lot of this is like an archive, and it's kind of like because like Howdy McCoskey brings it up a lot, like Groundhog Day, like you're on repeat or reset. And I've actually experienced that a number of times during like the pandemic, where I felt like I had already lived that week or that day. And then next thing I know, I woke up in my bed and I still remembered some of the things that I did. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk to my daughter about that thing. But then I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense because I just woke up, and was that a dream? But I don't think it was a dream. And I think it's just kind of this reality can reset. Then there's things like Mandela effect. At this point, there's just so many, and a lot of them don't make any sense. Like the Moonraker one with the chick with the braces. She doesn't have braces anymore in the movie, and now it doesn't make any sense. I was just doing some meditation before I popped onto your stream, and it's interesting you showed the Tauros thing. I see this stuff in everything now, and one of the meditations he was talking about he's called it this protective bubble, or what did he call it, a radiation bubble or some kind of bubble remediation, something like that. And you're in this bubble, and it's like a Tauros. It basically kind of comes out of your head like a fountain, and then it goes down to your feet, and then it comes back through the bottoms of your feet. And then he's like, now you have to make it like spiral around. And then when you're showing like the video, it's like that. It's just like that. So a lot of these things I have to kind of just take my time with it and just work on it over and over and over again repetitiously until it starts to work or make sense. I used to do meditation a lot when I was younger, when I was like a teenager in my early 20s. And I was really naive, and there's so many things I totally regret. Like, I really wish I hadn't done. I just, I was all into the woo woo, new agey love and light and all that stuff. And it's very seductive. And I thought because everybody else, well, they even teach each other, they're like, fake it till you make it. Basically, you just pretend that you're good at something even though you're not. And people would say stuff that sounds nice, or I made this mistake of thinking that if people, talk like they know what they're talking about or act like they're an expert, that they must be. And, they wrote this many books or they did this many things, they must be an expert. But they weren't. And there were these sisters, and I don't want to trash anybody. Like, I don't want to make fun of anybody, but they had a group of people, and I think they did it for, hopefully for the right reasons. But it did not go the way they thought, and they had all these different people with differing ideas. And so I was practicing certain stuff thinking I was, well, they're doing it, it must be good, they're awesome, so I'm going to do these things. And I used to a lot of times I would find, like, I'd be like doing like trance meditation and like astral stuff. And I don't know, like, when I think about it now, it's like cringy and I feel like stupid. But I would all the time find like these lost souls or spirits or whatever, like people who died and they were like confused. And then I would just like help them, and I thought I was helping them, and I would just send them to the light. Or sometimes I could touch them, and if they were really angry or really like upset or something, there was like this kind of weird buzzing around them, and like staticky weird, I don't know. And I could like touch them with my hand, and I could just make them better. And then I'd be like, okay, go to the light. And there are some some experiences were kind of scary, and they just jerk me awake. I'd just be like, whoa. I also would sometimes feel guilty about stuff like I wanted to help whoever for various reasons. People do just horrible things to each other in this world, and it's worse when you find out horrible things that are done to children. It's just heartbreaking. And when I remember helping just these people or whatever, I would still worry. I'd be like, I wonder what happened to them, or I no idea what happened to them. I just thought, oh, they're going to a better place. And then I started finding myself encountering these beings of light. They were like these light beings, and they looked really beautiful. They looked very pretty, and they looked very humanoid-like, with arms and legs, and they walk on two legs, and they have human-looking heads. And I couldn't really see their facial features because they're just like a glowing, pretty being. And they would come to me when I was sleeping, and they'd like pluck me out of my body, and they're like, hey, let's do some lessons, let's do some training, let's do whatever. And they'll sweet talk you and make it sound like you're special and you're great and you're amazing. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay. And they'd make me practice this and make me practice that. And they put these rocks in my hands, and they were like, okay, now focus on the rocks, just concentrate. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. And I just did whatever they told me, like a dumbass. And then after a while, the rocks like burst, and it really hurt. It was really painful. It's like a firecracker in my hand. And I felt terrible. I felt really bad. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know that was gonna happen. I'm so sorry. And they're like, don't worry. It's okay. Just try again. And then they just put the rock in my hand, like these crystal things in my hands. They're like, just concentrate on the rock. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Just naively doing what they told me. And then after a while, same thing. It would just explode in my hands, and like the pain was so bad. It just like just an explosion, like I said, like a firecracker, that hurts. And same thing, I felt really bad, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry." And then they're like, Just it's okay, don't worry about it, and do it again." And so they did this many times, and after this happening, it started becoming, like, faster and faster each time they'd put the rock in my hands, or the crystals in my hands, both my hands. After a while, it would just instantly burst, and it really hurt. It just was painful. And then they were like, "You know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. That's not a big deal." And then I felt so bad. I was like apologizing, and they're like, "No, no, no. No, no, no. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You don't understand. See, you shouldn't be able to do that." Um, and I'm like, "What?" And I remember when the rocks would burst, even though I couldn't see, like, their faces most of the time, when it burst, I could see, like, the expressions kind of in their face in that moment, like, of just shock, like, "How did she do that?" Right? Or, "She's not supposed to do that." Right? And so then they're like, "Okay, well, just lay down for a second." And they forced me to lay down, and then I was paralyzed, and then they're like, "Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna help you." And they broadcast this, like, signal to me, and I could feel it, and then I felt like they're uploading something, like a program or something, and it's, like, going into me, and I can't stop it, and I can't move, and they're like, "Everything's gonna be so much better after this, it's gonna be so great." And so I'm like, "Okay," but I hated every moment of it. I had no control over what they were doing to me. And then, I was there for a while, and then when it finished, like, uploading into me, I just was back in my body again in my bed, and then I didn't see them again. And I thought, because they made it sound like my life was amazing, and you're gonna do all these amazing things, and I'm like an artist, and I just had a kid, and I'm thinking I need to, get back into the whole career thing, right? And everything just got worse. Everything in my reality got worse. Relationships just started to shred. And my all the things I could do, like meditation and trance and certain kinds of abilities I had, just stopped. And then it was like it never happened. I was so like dumbfounded. And I at some point, by the time I was like in my 30s, I was like, did I just imagine everything? Because I used to have like all these kinds of really interesting experiences all the time. It was just normal. And then when I was in my 30s, well, it was like my late 20s into my 30s, it's just nothing. And if I felt anything, it would be for a nonsense thing. Like I had no sense of going into dangerous places, but, I'd have a weird sense like, "Oh, I think this weird scratch ticket might get me a couple bucks. Yay." And it would happen, but then nothing else. Like, so then I was like, "What is the point of this?" Like, I just questioned my sanity. I thought maybe I'm just a crazy person. Maybe I just have like temporal lobe epilepsy or something. And also, like, around the Obama era, there was a lot of this kind of, like, materialist, secular kinda thing coming around, and then they wanted to present themselves as, like, scientific, and they were very good at it, they had very good arguments. But then they started to take these arguments and kind of stretch it to apply to, like, anything and everything. Is "This is poppycock, and this is stupid, and this is insane, and this is da 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 da." But I would still have just weird experiences. I would still have, once in a while, but it wasn't like before. Like I'd have weird stalking things, or I'd have just weird, just odd things. Like John Keel kind of weird, like MIB kind of weird. And I was like, "No, I don't like this. I don't like this." And I had my friend David, he was like the person who was also had a lot of just very strange experiences, and he also was a skeptic as well. And so I had to kind of like be this like open to some things, and then but also skeptical, and also like not try to be like duped again. I had also had a near-death experience when I was 18, and that was not a religious kind of looking thing. I remember when I had my near-death experience, I thought when people had those experiences that you would see stuff that looked like religious, like Jesus or something, and that didn't happen. I just experienced so much stuff. A lot of it is kind of blocked from my memory. There were some things I could still remember for a long time, but if I tried to talk about it, it was like this curse of sorts. Like, if I started talking about it, I'd get so emotional that I'd start crying, and then my body would kind of like break down and I couldn't move. And when I did microdosing, I actually got that to stop so that I could talk about it. But a lot of it is kind of blocked from my memory. So lately I was trying to do like lucid dreaming stuff, and it got me into like reality shifting. And then when I was doing that, I started having all these weird side effects like traveling, like astral traveling, and I started to be aware that my mind would just split into different pieces and it would go in do different stuff. And some of those parts of my mind were like privating what it was doing. It's like, I don't want you to see this. And then when I'd wake up, I'd be just so annoyed. I'm like, how could my own mind not want me to know what it's doing? You know, there's a lot of very jarring things. I started to realize that because of those beings that did that, those light beings that did that stuff to me, I had kind of got myself into certain habits for out of defensive reasons that when I sleep, I was very good since I was a kid at doing what's called dream incubation. But my method of it was very outdated, like from when I was like 12 years old. Whereas everything else has sort of progressed over time. And the pandemic was this huge resurgence of new approaches to a lot of these things, which fascinates me a lot. And my friend who died, when he's interacting with me, he would do stuff to try and like jostle me or like get me to notice stuff, or he would prank me or he'd do all kind of goofy stuff. And I didn't understand what was going on at the time. I didn't even know it was him, and I didn't know he died because he knows everything that I'm going through, that I've been through now, because I gave him access to my Oh, shift reality? Yeah, definitely. Are we shifting realities? Yeah, we're shifting realities. I've been doing it a lot my whole life. Rob talks about it. He goes into like realities all the time, but you can learn how to control it. And I've been working on that. I've been working on like scripting it and like actually going to the reality I want to. I've also been like working on scripting stuff for lucid dreams. Like, in fact, I just had a few weeks ago, I had a very botched lucid dream. Because my mind keeps splitting into like pieces, some parts of my mind that are more like critical thinking are not always there. It's off doing something else, or it's like resting. Um, and other parts of my mind are still like doing hi. I can see some of you guys' comments. Some of my parts of my mind can have critical thinking, or like I'll understand that parts of the dream are fake, but then I'm not having the conclusion like, aha, this is a dream. Well, I had been working on trying to become like kind of pull my mind back together, like more coalesced and like combined again. And well, we're shifting all the time. Your consciousness is shifting. I think Heather mentioned morphic field, like Sheldrake. He actually did a TED talk a long time ago, and then he got banned. But you can find it. And he actually wrote so much papers on this stuff. And because I kept accidentally like traveling or lucid dreaming instead of going to my DR, the desired reality is what they call it. You're shifting to a different location. I realized that it was like these things are kind of connected. And in Sheldrake's theory, he calls it like morphic field theory. And Yeah, so you're definitely shifting all the time. You're probably just not aware of it. If you look at different like people who study like out of body stuff or astral, same thing. They talk about it too. Like a lot of your memory doesn't come back with you, and I've been figuring that out. There's like an aperture. Like I say, so there's other realities that exist that have another us in it, and we're shifting to those. Yeah, or you're already there and you're not aware of it. If you can think of it, then it can exist. It's if you sit there and ponder that for like a few months, it's kind of interesting how you can kind of like wrap your head around it. It takes a while to kind of like ponder that. Um, but yeah, I have accidentally shifted to the wrong place many times, and I'll be stuck there. And the passage of time is very long, and then you just wake up in your bed. I used to do this a lot when I was younger. I used to escape time. Um, I would oftentimes do it like in the dark. This is kind of like where I feel like a lot of spiritual kinds of people, they like to talk about light and stuff like that. But a lot of times for me personally, I'm in the dark and I kind of wonder, there's like, this is going to sound totally nuts, crazy talk. There's this kind of shark called a Greenland shark, and they live a very long time and they're blind and they have parasites on their eyes. But somehow they manage to live and feed in the dark and blind for sometimes centuries. And in many cultures, they're considered like gods or fairies or some kind of immortal being or whatever. And I kind of wonder, it's just because I've pondered this many times for years. If I had a life as one of those sharks, and maybe that's why I can still get around even though I can't see. There's times when I'm like out of body where it's like I can't see anything, but I'm going someplace, and then I can see. So it's an interesting idea. I can't prove it, but I have just so many weird experiences. Um, I could totally see myself doing some weird thing like that. I've had a lot of weird past life memories that I've figured out, and they're really weird and horrible. A lot of them really bad, um, terrible actually. Um, why do we do this? Why are we doing this? I have no idea. Um, but yeah, I have done so much meditation this year, and there's many times where I'm in like kind of like an ontological shock. Let's see, when we shift, is there differences in this reality that is noticeable? It depends. When you go to another reality, it's absolutely real, right? It's so real you can't tell. Like it's like this. And you can also test it to see if you're in a lucid dream or in another reality. I also keep having like this kind of like, it's almost like a sine wave where like I'll be in another reality and then like there's a passage of time, but then it kind of will shift more into like a dream, and then things are more dreamlike. And then it's not real anymore. And then it'll shift back. And I think maybe this is because like your brain while you're sleeping is going through like REM cycles. But there's other times like when you're like fully shifting reality, it's like you go deep. It's like you go downward, and it's like this deep feeling of just so deep. It's like going to the bottom of the deepest ocean kind of a feeling. And when you come back, it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. And you could be there for months or years, right? So it says, how can one know that they are in a different reality? So this is the thing. A lot of times when I would go in these other realities, I didn't script it. So I didn't necessarily question it. Like I would be in these realities oftentimes as myself, like this me, but it would be people that I knew here, but it was like a different version of here. And like oftentimes in some of those, like the colors would be different. Like I remember there's one that I would go to where I lived in New Jersey, and the colors were not very vibrant there like here, but it was so boring. It just, for some reason, I go to these boring versions sometimes. And it's funny because there's those people that I know from here that are there. I'm not really friends with them here, but there it's like just as like, high school. Yeah, it's really exhausting. So just they said I felt exhausted recently, and there's a difference in my reality since then. Yeah, so this is another weird thing. Like I said, with like resetting stuff, when you wake up, sometimes stuff can be like different. Like you can wake up here, and then like you could have researched something for like a paper in college or something, and then you wrote the paper, you handed it in, you got the grade, but then you a month or two later somebody talks about it and it's completely different, and then you research it again and now it's nothing like in your paper. I've experienced that a lot. It says, here we go. Do you ever turn your lucid dreams into an out-of-body experience? So this is kind of one of those things because I've been practicing this, I've been working on this for quite a while. I've actually like done like all of them, but not because I was trying to. It just kind of happens. I'm trying to get like more control on it, and the more you just keep at it, you can start to get control of these things. It's just like back when I was younger and I didn't know anything about meditation and I was trying to learn it. You just gotta do it to do it. If you do it to have a result, you kind of thwart it. Like if your purpose of doing it is to get this thing, like this is your goal and you want to get that, but now you've sort of pedestalized it, like it's so far away you can't get it. But if you just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, it just kind of starts happening. If you go too hard, you like push it away from yourself. It's kind of like if you're really interested in some guy or girl that's like your crush and you're overdoing it, like your crush on them is too much, you're kind of annoying. You're creepy. And it's like that. It's like if your goal for your meditation or your reality shift or your lucid dream, if you're too annoying like to it, it's like you're pushing it away. But if you just kind of, it's like you have to kind of calm down and then just kind of, it's like you have to kind of like flow with it, right? This is, I know you can use lucid dreams as a platform to shift. You can also use lucid dreams as a platform to go out of body. I think the morphic field thing, if you look up Sheldrake, he was banned. He was banned from TED Talk. His TED Talk was banned. He was smeared as a pseudoscience kook or crazy or crackpot. But if you actually go to his website, he has so many things and papers and data, and he's not a kook. He's like a legitimate scientist and of many disciplines. And every time he gives a lecture and they try to come at him with these like questions, he already is like, oh, this again. And then he's like, okay, these are the papers on my website. If you'd actually read it, this is why I did the talk this way. And this is why I didn't want to waste time on 20 minutes of this explanation because I was polite to the person who organized this talk, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Just, can you tell me what other differences you recognize after you shift it? There's different, it's like there's different kinds of shifting. I don't know how to explain this. Like there's waking methods and then there's sleeping methods. And waking methods is more like hypnotic induction. And it was a shock to me when I did this because I wasn't trying to. And for some reason, I ended up in a reality in bed with Jeffree Star and his ex-boyfriend in a hotel or like a resort bedroom. It was so weird. It was so real. And they were laughing. And I was shocked. I was like, how did I get here? What am I doing here? And then I was there for a while. And then I suddenly just shifted back. And it was like this weird feeling of like turning. And then I was back in my bed. And it was so real. Like I can't, like it was so real. Like you could smell things, you could taste things. Oh, you need 5 minutes? Okay. And then the sleeping methods are, it's more of like this deep thing. I think, well, I'm working on like gateway process because the side effects I kept having, like I didn't know what to do about it. And so I was trying to figure out like what's going on. I have a tendency to do what's called clicking out, which is a terminology in gateway process and Robert Monroe's stuff, where I would either black out or brown out. And blacking out is basically like when you just lose consciousness, whereas browning out is you're conscious, but then when you kind of wake up, all the memory is kind of gone or it's blocked. I had like I was trying to tell about the lucid dream that I botched. I kept going into these like lucid dreams, but I wasn't having this conclusion that I was dreaming. And I would wake up and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to get up, I'm going to go pee, and then I'm going to go back to bed and I'm going to try to incubate my shift to my DR. Or I would also have to go, but in case I go to back into this dream, if I see these things, I will conclude that I'm dreaming. So I did that. I woke up because I kept having the same dream. I'm like, damn it, why do I keep going back to this dumb dream? All right, get up, go pee, go back to bed, and then try and shift. But then, because I said, if I see these certain things, I will know I'm dreaming. And I was like, this time I'm going to do it. Okay. So I found myself in the dream again, and I was trying to get to, okay, so in my DR that I scripted, I'm in Hogwarts. I'm in the Ravenclaw Tower, and I have a bedroom in the, the big tower, and it has like these turret things. There's like these 3 turret things. My bedroom is in the top one. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be in my private bedroom in Ravenclaw. And instead of being there, it was this dream again, and it was the room had like it was like octagon shaped walls instead of like square or rectangle. It was like octagon, and it was like made out of wood, and a lot of it was very like church like or old world, kind of very several centuries ago. And I tested because you do like reality checks, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do reality checks. And I saw that there was a weird artificial blur on my hands, and my hands didn't quite look right. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use the stuff that I scripted so that I can go to my DR. And I got way too cocky and way too overconfident. And I got just so, I started rushing, and I programmed what's called, so in Star Trek, The Next Generation, there's like the holodeck. It's like it's like you walk into this room and you can program a hologram and then you can go in this other world. And so when you're in the holodeck, if you give verbal commands to the computer, you can call for the arch. And I was like, yeah, I'm scripting the arch. So I said, computer arch. And I'm like, ha ha ha, I'm going to go into the arch, and then I'm just going to go into Ravenclaw. And I called for the arch and nothing happened. And I was like, what? And then I tried it again and nothing happened. But that's because for me, there's like a lag, because in lucid dreams, there's like a lag, and I didn't think. And so then I was like, okay, computer freeze program. Now I've used the scripted stuff before, like I use a remote control. I have a lot of times what I'll do is I'll look around for like a TV or remote control. I'll grab the remote control and then I'll like tune it to myself. And then I'll just start pressing buttons and imagine what I want to happen. But it takes like a few tries because of the lag. But my dumb ass got so cocky and so overconfident. And then because the computer, like it wasn't the arch wasn't coming and the program or whatever didn't freeze, I started panicking. and I got so panicked and I got really emotional and it got so immature. Oh my God. I start freaking out. And so I'm like, oh my God, I gotta figure out what to do. What am I gonna do? And my emotion just got so out of hand. And in this panic, and I mean, it was like insanity. I was just a moron. I don't know, like a bull in a china shop or something. That the a dream started attacking me, and it was so bad that I blacked out that I can't remember what happened to me. And then I blacked out into this blackness. Don't know what happened. It was erased from my memory. It must have been bad. Okay. And then I sort of fell into my bed after a little while and I woke up and I was like, oh, what did I do? And then I woke up and I realized I'm an idiot. I botched that so bad. I should know better. I was kicking myself for days. Like, why did I do that? I should know better. I really should know better. So yeah, isn't that weird? I try to write all these things down. I've also experienced a lot of things like in reverse, like where apparently things in the future kind of start happening. It's like I have foreshocks of stuff that happened in the future, but I didn't experience it yet. And because of my friend David, like he started to show me and teach me a lot of this stuff. There's stuff in my notebooks of dreams and stuff that I had that I didn't understand, even while my friend was alive, that I understand now because I understand like his certain like symbols. He has certain like symbols. So he likes to he he jokes that he's Odin, which as weird as that sound, if anybody was Odin, I at this point he would be the one person I could probably believe it because I was so like that's dumb. I don't believe that. Like, but whatever. There was a real person that was a real person. Now it's like a mythical figure or whatever. Um, but there's so many weird things about Odin that are exactly like my friend, like exactly. And it's weird. He's a weird guy. He was a really smart person, like genius. Okay, wacky genius kind of. Yeah, and he was super into like music. He was like music was like his life. He probably owned dozens of guitars and other kinds of musical instruments, and he was a polymath and a polyglot, and he was one of my favorite people ever. He just really weird, really smart. He was a professor or a instructor at Yale. Um, he before he died, there was a lot of things that just kind of went wrong, and I don't know the exact reason why he got like pushed out of Yale. I think it was probably because he supported some kind of protest or something, and that's probably why. But he also mentioned some stuff with their administration that he was not happy about, and he was a great teacher. I used to try to come up with reasons like I want to learn this from him or I want him to do this, or I'd be like, hey David, are you going to do one of those Photoshop classes? Because he was like the expert of Photoshop, literally. He wrote the literal first books of Photoshop, like how to use Photoshop. And he would just say stuff like, I'm not your teacher. And I'd be like, damn. I thought maybe it was like a Zen master thing. Like maybe if he just refuses enough time, like maybe if I figure out like a way around it or whatever. But now that he's passed, I see it differently. I view it as he liked relationships of equals or like fairness. And like you're laughing. I think he'd rather me be his peer than like be above me, kind of a thing. Which like that's so sweet. You know, he does stuff. He still does stuff all the time. There's certain things he does with like air currents. Air is like a big thing. I it is, I can tell when it's him, and like I can tell the difference when it's not him and when it's him. Because like if somebody was like, okay, so if you're like sitting at the table and you're near like a window, and let's say there's a breeze coming in and the breeze can knock like papers off the table, you would go, oh, it's just the wind, right? And then you could like pick the papers back up and put them back on the table and whatever. And the wind could blow it off a few times, and then you could like put like a paperweight on it or something. But if the papers are moving around and they're moving weird and you feel like you're being pranked, you're going to start to be like, yo, somebody's doing something, right? And it gets ridiculous. Like it goes, it's just weird. And then I'm like, fucking A, David, like, the fuck? There's times when he does stuff like to get my attention. And then when he does that, because he can ramp it up. And when he does, I know to pay attention to something. I know this is kind of like one of those things, because I'm also studying like the soul trap stuff. And this is like, I'm very confused because I definitely study that. I definitely see all of that. But my interaction with David, he usually doesn't show up looking like his self here. He shows up in different versions of himself, which is very Odin-ish. I think because he's wants to see like if I can recognize him looking like something else. And I usually don't see him looking like how he looked here. But I have seen him like, when he was alive, kind of. He didn't really like the way he looked. um, he he also I've shifted. He can shift me. He can shift me with him somewhere. And he showed me like different versions of his body, and he was like, hey, these are the designs of my bodies, which ones do you like? Which is kind of weird, but whatever. And they were all just huge dudes. He's a big dude. I guess he just likes being large. And they were all big, yeah, large men, body. And there's certain things when I've woken up, I'll see a certain kind of a flying around guy, and there's a certain look to it. And even though it's like in a disguise, I can tell that it's him. I can tell that he's accessed my entire file of my lifetime. He literally knows everything, like anything and everything, which is weird. There's no secrets. So there's that. I don't know what I don't know what that totally means. I don't know. I kind of wonder, like, even in stories like about like Odin, the mythology, Odin gave up one of his eyes as a sacrifice so that he could gain like the power to affect time. This is the mythology. So the mythical Odin gave up his eyeball to be able to have certain kinds of psychic powers and mind powers, knowledge, wisdom, and to like affect time. And it's kind of ironic because in the mythology of Odin, he was given certain kinds of foresight about the end of the world or something, which actually caused the end of the world. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I know, right? It's kind of weird. But I've also, he showed me, well, so there were certain things that I had questions for him about, and I didn't understand certain stuff, like while he was alive, certain stuff. And that's like, it's private, but he he basically divulged a specific past life of his that was a pretty big deal during the American and the French Revolution. And at first I was like, I don't think so. Like, I don't believe that. Like, whatever, shut up. And then he kept showing me this, and he basically, there's some weird stuff in that. And when I really looked into it, I was just floored. And now I understand why he was a certain ways about certain things because of that specific lifetime. And I don't ever want to tell anybody what that is. It's very private. But it was enough that I kind of was like, okay, there's definitely something to this. It sounds absolutely crazy. It's like absolutely nutty, insane talk, but whatever. The freaking news is insane. You see people on the news trying to act like people are insane on the news. So whatever. It's just nuts. I don't know. Like he showed you. Well, he didn't show you. He did not show me everything. When my friend was alive, there were some people, and I don't know if other people notice this about me, but there are some people, like when I talk to them, even if it's like in a text chat, it's like some people I can experience, like it's like there's something about their mind, and it's like this connection of the mind that to me I value deeply. I'm always super interested in sort of connecting with people in a mental level, or the heart, the emotions, right? And when I would talk to David, even if it was just like in Facebook, like chatting and stuff back and forth, I could always like feel this. I could always experience this in a massive way. And I could always tell that his mind had this like very vast, really, that what you see is not like, it's just a little fraction of the bigger part of who he really was. And I think I was probably one of the few people that could tell. And at times, because I was very good at like seeing this about him, it does freak some people out. And there was times, I guess, at the end, because he was very depressed. He suffered from a really horrible rare disease called Job's disease, like the biblical Job. And it was really bad. He actually lived over 10 years longer than he was supposed to. So I figure when he passed, it must have been really bad. He also had a habit before he died. He would like block me and unblock me and friend me and unfriend me, which pissed me off so much and made me cry, and it just hurt me a lot. And I was still like grumpy about it. But I had a lot of these weird dreams where these beings would come to me, and it was very real and very vivid. And then I'd wake up and I couldn't remember it all. I was so mad. I was so pissed off. One of my teachers died, and I was that really messed with my head. And it was like a whole string of a bunch of people just kicking the bucket. And then when my teacher died, I was like pretty open to, experiencing weird stuff. And, he did some stuff, but it wasn't like in a big, huge way. So when weird stuff happened, I thought it was my teacher. His name's Bill. And I was like, I don't know. This doesn't remind me of Bill. This doesn't. And then certain things just wasn't reminding me of Bill. And I was like, I don't think this is Bill. Like, who am I interacting with? And then I would have these dreams, and then I would have like this weird stuff kept like, there's just so much stuff. And it kept reminding me of my friend David. And I'm like, why does this stuff keep reminding me of David? And then I kept thinking, like, I really wish I could talk to David, but he's blocked me. And the weirdest things, just like his birthday is in October. And there was a Beetlejuice movie that came out last year, and I still haven't seen it. I love that movie, the original movie. I love the movie, like a Tim Burton movie. And I remember I was on Instagram on my browser, and somebody was playing like a dance routine, and they had the Harry Belafonte song called Jump in the Line. And when I heard that song, it was like it got stuck in my head in the loudest way. And I kept hearing the song like everywhere. And I would go to sleep and I'm still hearing the song. So music is a thing with him. Like he will do weird with a lot of time stuff with music. And I woke up in the morning the next day, and I'm still hearing this music in my head, jump in the line, dun, 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 okay, I believe you. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just play the song. So I go into my computer and I turn my computer on and I find the song and I'm like, okay, I'll just listen to the song. And I'm like, oh, I like the song. And I'm just like, oh, I really like the song. But then next thing I know, like I couldn't stop dancing. And I was like, so weird. I couldn't stop dancing. And I was playing the song over and over again. And then I figured I'll get it out of my system. And then I made plans to do it was like a Wednesday, and I made plans to go with my friends to do like a Pokemon Go raid. It was like a Halloween thing. And I went outside and I started playing that song again, and I just kept playing it over and over. And then it was like I was overcome with this like I can't stop dancing kind of vibe. And I'm like a weird, crazy person dancing around my town, going all the way down to the park and just like dancing, waving my arms around and like it's weird. And I'm like singing this song. And then I do the Pokemon raid, and then it's over, and then I walk home. But I'm still like, it's like I was in this weird frenzy or something. It's just so weird. And I'm like, whatever, I'm happy. So I started dancing, dancing around, and then I go home. And it was funny because, like, by the time I was almost home, I was like, yo, this song kind of reminds me of, like, that movie where, like, the ghosts, like, made the people dance. Completely unaware that I was dancing and that's kind of weird. But I was just like, let's just go with it, whatever. And, it's the kind of weird thing I would definitely expect him to do. But I also kept having, this was another thing that kept happening was I kept having this like nudge, like, hey, you like music, you should sing. And I was like, nah. And then it would like keep poking at me like, hey, you like to sing, don't you? Why don't you sing? And it kept persisting like every day, especially when I went outside and I took a walk. And at some point, I just couldn't stop my voice. My voice just started singing, and I would like kind of try and fight it for a while, and then I was like, "Screw it! I'll just make a playlist on my phone, and I'll just sing a few songs, and maybe I'll just get this out of my. Maybe this is some weird psychological thing or whatever." And I sing all the time now, and it's like this there's this feeling I don't even know what this is. It's like I it's just growing too, and it's like this every day now I practice singing. But it was funny because I remember like his birthday came, and his birthday's in October, and then the election happened, and he's like big time into politics. I knew a lot about politics on my own, but also because of him as well. And I wanted to see like what he had been posting or whatever, but he wasn't posting because he was dead. And and then I was like, oh, why are all these weird things happening? Like, what is all this weird music stuff? And like, and I mean, like, I could, I could show you the songs too. And there's lots of them. I even made playlists of this stuff. Like, I would, if I played a song on on Spotify or YouTube, or if I went to visit my chiropractor last year, the songs would be like songs that were obscure that people wouldn't know, but were always songs that was him, like his kind of songs. And it just, I was like, what the heck is going on? And then I had this weird feeling like, oh, type in his name and look for podcasts. which is a weirdly specific thing. I was like, what? And then I found podcasts that he was in that somebody had published, and another guy who was his like ex-friend published, and they talked about how he died. And I was like, what? And then I found his obituary, and then I realized, oh my God, all these weird things that keep reminding me of David, including my dreams and these weird music things. Oh my, and then I realized it was him. I was like, and then I started to get all the jokes. There was like all these jokes and pranks, and there was even like this one dream I had that was like, it was like in Back to the Future. Marty McFly, he's in the past. No, he's in the future. Yeah, he's in the past, and he watches his parents meeting and going to the dance. So he goes to his dad's bedroom as a kid and puts headphones on his dad's head and blasts like rock and roll music into his ears and tells him like, you have to go take that girl to the dance. And he's like got like a hazmat suit on, like he's pretending to be like Darth Vader, right? Well, I had a weird dream like that from a few years ago, and I wrote it down in detail. There was all these like, it was this weird rock and roll music, and David really liked rock and roll like a lot. And there was all these images, and I saw like a tree, and I saw like an image of like a key, and it was weird. Well, when I realized David died, and there was other stuff that was showing up in my dreams, I went back through all the weird dreams I had for a few years now, and I started to realize it was like him, as I noticed. They can also like go back, or at least he could go back to the past and affect things too. And there's this movie, it's like a documentary about Ackerman, and he did that. It's kind of funny because I remember I woke up the one day after having these dreams with these beings kept visiting me, and they were trying to prove something to me using music. And I would wake up and be really pissed off that I couldn't remember who they were. And I had this weird feeling like, hey, turn on the TV, on the smart TV, and look up your film. I have a film. It's called Super Forlorn. And I was tracking the analytics. I was like, just go play your film, see if it tracks it next month, and see how many views or whatever was on it. So because I'm an idiot in the morning, I just thought, well, that makes sense. Okay. I'm a dork, and I'm such an idiot in the morning. My brain doesn't work right when I first wake up. It's like a handicap I have. And I found my film on Roku, and then in the thumbnail, it was the movie. It's called like Life After Death Project. You know what? I can find it. I'll probably post a link, I think. Let me see. And probably need to log in. But yeah, I have weird experiences all the time because I don't know. Sometimes I don't want it to happen. David had some really weird experiences. He talked about a few of them to me personally, privately, and then he talked about some of them. So before podcasts were like what they are today, he had a very popular paranormal podcast called The Paracast with Gene Steinberg, which now it's just Gene and whoever else he wants to do it with. And let's see. Was it Afterlife Project? Or no, not that one. Post a link in the chat. It's around here somewhere. What's called Life After Death? Hold on a second. Here it is. I got it. There you go. It's free. It's free. There you go. Post it right there. Oh, you're enjoying my weird kooky. Oh yeah, you guys, you have to watch this movie. It's called Life After Death Project. It's about Ackerman, and the first 15 minutes are like slower paced. Once it starts to really pick up,
Hey, Black Uni.
hey, what's up? Once it starts to pick up, you can't stop watching it. I watched this movie several times. But so Ackerman, FJ Ackerman, he was not like a religious person, he was an atheist. But he was super interested in like, weird, goofy stuff and monsters and monster movies and things like that. He was like an eccentric rich guy, and he was the founder of, I think it was called Monsters Magazine. It's like a vintage old magazine back in the day. And he pranked all of his friends after he died in the funniest ways. And it's funny because it's like David still does this. He knows that I'm studying the soul trap reincarnation thing. I don't know why. I don't know what to do with certain things. Now my interaction with him and other things, non-physical stuff, it does a lot of times have this like lovey-dovey, everything's lovely. Sometimes I wonder if it's like an etiquette thing or a politeness thing. I don't want to get reincarnated ever again. How about you? You know? Okay. So, you guys have any more questions or whatever? Heather, do you have anything to say? Anybody? Never. I just want to thank all you folks for being around and being true to yourself and being like authentically yourself and being like open-minded. Also thanks to Heather. I really like your content, Heather. I feel like a lot of people probably actually like you and your content also. And I'm always researching something or pondering something. I
I'm
mostly
so
just
sorry
like to do
for
art.
the lag. I don't know if you can hear me. 'Cause,
Yeah, I can.
I'm talking over you because
Oh,
I have no choice, but I have to
okay.
end the stream in a couple minutes.
Okay, sure. All right. I guess I'll go to mute then. Do you want to do your thing? Do your closing statement or whatever? Oh yeah, one other thing I mentioned in the comments, I've been trying to do different like meditation stuff, and I was working on trying to make like different bodies for myself too, like a dragon body. It's kind of weird, but sometimes when I'm defensive, I feel like a dragon anyway. Like I feel like I have wings and feel like I have a tail. That's the weirdest thing, but for real, that's a thing. Yeah, huge lag. Oh boy. Let me see.
All right, so here's the lag. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what to do.
You.
Well, well, so I'm talking to you as I'm hearing you, but it's not matching up because there's a huge lag. So I'm just going to say what this is. Thank you so much for sharing everything you've shared. And I'm just going to continue talking and see what happens. I'm sorry, I'm talking over. I don't know how that works. Thank you, everything that you've shared, the links, all the tips, the advice, the ideas. I really appreciate your presence here and all of your encouragement and great commentary in the videos. And I hope I'm not talking over you. I had to just take the headphones off because I don't know what the lag is, how long it is. It seems like it's like 3 minutes lag at this point. So I'm just going to say thank you to everybody that has hung out and listened and shared commentary and vibes. And so I appreciate you all so much. This is so fun, learning how to articulate my ideas better and listening to other people share their experiences. Black Uni, that was incredible. You have a gift with articulation and eloquence, and I don't hear many things repeated. You just have just such a wealth of insight and experience. So I really appreciate that share. And um, I'm going to re-listen to this stream as I'm resting and enjoy it again. And so I'll be back again another day to upload a video. So thanks everybody for hanging out, and have a good night. And I'm sorry about the lag. It wasn't allowing us to communicate properly together, Black Uni, but I appreciate you and your sharing, and thank you for coming up. Okay, everybody, take care.